Shalom family, welcome back. I'm sorry for all the doom and gloom, but you know, there's no point in false promises. You know, Tony Blair told us things can only get better. But look where that ended us up. Look at the world we have today. I'm not saying it's Tony Blair's fault, but we listen to the promises over and over. So Mr. Blair told us things can only get better. And what happened? The drugs, they went to war. The drug situation got worse, even worse, after they had been talking to us about the war on drugs, blah, 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 through the 80s, through the late 80s, through the 90s. And also big business, you know, big pharma, the tech companies and the bankers took over the world. The question is, are we about to fall for it again? That's the question. What do I think? Of course we will, because we never learn. And you know, we just put these things down to, you know, the economy, the economy, the economy. That's all everyone cares about right now, the economy, the economy. You know, money's going to solve everything. And people are suffering. They want more money in their pocket just to, you know, live their lives. I get it. But this promise of growth and future jobs and blah, 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 the future jobs ain't for people like us. This promise of growth is for their wealth to grow and for us to stay stagnant. They'll give us a little bit more money to buy the toys and everything and carry on buying their nonsense. But we'll just end up back in the same place. We'll just end up back here. The economy, the economy, the economy. The love of money is what? What is the love of money? So for them to carry on with their wicked plans, they just have the promise of more money, which is the plan of why they're crushing us right now. Everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants more money. But give it a decade or so and we'll look around and it's like, what's changed? Nothing's changed. The rich got ridiculously richer and the poor stayed poor. And more people fell into the bracket of the poor. You know this, you've lived long enough. You've lived long enough. That's why the focus is on the teenagers, those in their 20s. Let me just get on with this, because you know I can ramble on and on and on. Right, 2nd Esdras 3. 2nd Esdras 3. So, it's the constant reoccurring question. How long? And this just answers so many questions, and it makes you realize, even if you're not a believer, you're asking the same question. You're asking the same question. So, 2nd Esdras 3. 2nd Esdras 3. In the 13th year after the destruction of the city, I was in Babylon. I, Salathiel, who I am also called Ezra, I was troubled as I lay upon my bed. And my thoughts welled up in my heart. because I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of those who lived in Babylon. My spirit was greatly agitated, and I began to speak anxious words to the Most High and said, O Father, did you not speak at the beginning when you planted the earth, and that without help, and commanded the dust? And it gave you, Adam, a lifeless body. Yet he was the creation of your hands, and you breathed into him the breath of life, and he was made alive in your presence. And you led him into the garden that your right hand had planted before the earth appeared. And you laid upon him one commandment of yours, but he transgressed it, and immediately you appointed death for him and for his descendants. For him there sprang nations, from him there sprang nations and tribes, peoples and clans without number, and every nation walked after its own will. They did ungodly things in your sight and rejected your commandments, and you did not hinder them. But again, in its time, you brought the flood upon the inhabitants of the world and destroyed them. And the same fate befell all of them. Just as death came upon Adam, so the flood upon them. But you left one of them, Noah, with his household and all the righteous who have descended from him. When those who lived on the earth began to multiply, they produced children and peoples and many nations, and they began to be more ungodly than were their ancestors. And when they were committing iniquity in your sight, you chose for yourself one of them, whose name was Abraham. You loved him, and to him alone you revealed the end of the times secretly by night. You made an everlasting covenant with him and promised him that you would never forsake his descendants, and you gave him Isaac, and to Isaac you gave Jacob and Esau. You set apart Jacob for yourself, but Esau you rejected. And Jacob became a great multitude. And when you led his descendants out of Egypt, you brought them to Mount Sinai. And you bent down the heavens and shook the earth, and moved the world, and caused the depths to tremble, and troubled the times. Your glory passed through the four gates of fire, and earthquake, and wind, and ice, to give the law to the descendants of Jacob, and your commandment to the posterity of Israel. Yet you did not take away their evil heart from them, so that your law might produce fruit in them. For the first Adam burdened with an evil heart transgressed, and was overcome, as were also all who were descended from him. Thus the disease became permanent. The law was in the hearts of the people, along with the evil root. But what was good departed, and the evil remained. So the times passed, and the years were completed, and you raised up for yourself a servant named David. You commanded him to build a city for your name, and there to offer your oblations from what is yours. This was done for many years, but the inhabitants of the city transgressed, and in everything doing just as Adam and all his descendants had done, for they also had the evil heart. So you handed over your city to your enemies. Then I said in my heart, are the deeds of those who inhabit Babylon any better? Is that why it has gained dominion over Zion? For when I came here, I saw ungodly deeds without number, and my soul has seen many sinners during these 30 years. And my heart failed me, because I have seen how you endure those sins. You endure those who sin, and have spared those who act wickedly, and have destroyed your people who protected your enemies, and have not shown to anyone how your way may be comprehended. Are the deeds of Babylon better than those of Zion? Or has another nation known you beside Yasharel? Or what tribes have so believed the covenants as these tribes of Jacob? Yet their reward has not appeared, and their labor has borne no fruit. For I have travelled widely among the nations, and have seen that they abound in wealth, though they are unmindful of your commandments. Now therefore weigh and balance our iniquities and those of the inhabitants of the world, and it will be found which way the turn of the scale will incline. When have the inhabitants of the earth not sinned in your sight? Or what nation has kept your commandments so well? You may indeed find individuals who have kept your commandments, but nations you will not find. You see, we know now because we read in the book, but people refuse to read the book. Us folk, the scattered tribes in the diaspora, we asking the same question. Even those at home asking the same question. Why? How comes? Why do they seem to get away with it? It's a deep question for the soul, but we know now, we're awakened, we're reading, we understand. So, 2nd Esdras 4. Before I go on to 2nd Esdras 4, let's get a psalm. Now, I love to read the King James like the old way, but for your sake, I'm going to read the Amplified. Oh, Father, why do you cast us off forever? Why does your anger burn and smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Earnestly remember your congregation, which you have acquired of old, which you have redeemed to the tribe of your heritage. Remember Mount Zion, where you have dwelt. Direct your feet quickly to the perpetual ruins and desolations. The foe has devastated and desecrated everything in the sanctuary. In the midst of your holy place, your enemies have roared with their battle cry. They set up their own idol, emblems for signs of victory. They seem like men who lifted up axes upon a thicket of trees to make themselves a record. And then all the carved wood of the holy places they broke down with hatchets and hammers. They have set your sanctuary on fire. They have profaned the dwelling place of your name by casting it to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us make havoc of such places altogether. They have burned up all God's meeting houses in the land. We do not see our symbols. There is no longer any prophet, neither does any among us know for how long. Oh, Father Yah, how long is the adversary to scoff and reproach? Is the enemy to blaspheme and revile your name forever? Why do you hold back your hand, even your right hand? Draw it out of your bosom and consume them. Make an end of them. Yet Yah is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. You did divide the Red Sea by your might. You broke the heads of the Egyptian dragons in the waters. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. You did give him as food for the creatures inhabiting the wilderness. You did cleave upon the rock, bringing forth fountains and streams. You dried up mighty, ever-flowing rivers. The day is yours, the night is also yours. You have established the starry light and the sun. You have fixed all the borders of the earth, the divisions of the land and the sea and the nations. You have made summer and winter. Acts 17:26. You have fixed all the borders of the earth, the divisions of the land and sea, of the nations. Remember this, that the enemy have reproached, O Father, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove unto the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the inhabitants of cruelty. O let not the oppression return. O let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise thy name. Arise, O Yah, plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies. The tumult of those that rise up against thee increase continually. There's a psalm from Uncle Asaph there. How long? Frustration, asking, wondering. Remember the prophet's relationship. Go back to Habakkuk. It's all there. It's a question for the ages. So, 2nd Esdras 4. Then the angel that had been sent to me, whose name was Uriel, answered and said to me, your understanding has utterly failed regarding this world. And do you think you can comprehend the way of the Most High? Then I said, yes, my Lord. Okay, I'm going to say my Lord, right? Because he's speaking to the angel. So it's just all throughout this book, everybody's Lord. Like, it's, you know, it's hard to keep up whether he's talking to God, whether he's talking to the king, like whether they're talking to the... So I'm going to say my Lord because he's speaking to the angel. If he's speaking to the Most High, we'll say Father, Elohim, or Yah, okay? Everybody's Lord, like. Then the angel that had been sent to me, whose name was Uriel, answered and said to me, your understanding has utterly failed regarding this world, and do you think you can comprehend the way of the Most High? Then I said, yes, my Lord. And he replied to me, I have been sent to show you 3 ways and to put before you 3 problems. If you can solve one of them for me, then I will show you the way you desire to see, and will teach you why the heart is evil. And I said, speak, my Lord. And he said to me, go. This is very humbling, just like in Job, very similar. And he said to me, go, weigh for me the weight of fire, or measure me a blast of wind, or call back for me the day that has passed. I answered and said, who of those that have been born can do that you should ask me such things? And he said to me, if I had asked you how many dwellings are in the heart of the sea, or how many streams are at the source of the deep, or how many streams are above the firmament, how many dwellings are in the heart of the sea, how many streams are at the source of the deep, or how many streams are above the firmament. Space. Or which are the exits of Hades, or which are the entrances of paradise? Perhaps you would have said to me, I never went down into the depth, nor as yet into Hades, neither did I ever ascend into heaven. But now I have asked you only about fire and wind and the day, these things that you have experienced and from which you cannot be separated, and you have given me no answer about them. Hades is not exactly hell, because heaven, hell, Hades. Hades is talking about, in this instance, it's talking about Hades, the dwelling place of the dead. Abraham's bosom, you can say, the waiting room. He said to me, you cannot understand the things which you have grown up. How can then your mind comprehend the way of the Most High? And how can one who is already worn out by the corrupt world understand incorruption? Humbled. When I hear this, I fell on my face and said to him, it would have been better for us not to be here than to come here and live in ungodliness and to suffer and not understand why. People don't understand why, especially us of African descent. If you're not reading, you don't understand why. It's too easy to blame. In some instances you can, but the big picture, the divine plan, it would have been better for us not to be here than to come here and live in ungodliness and to suffer and not understand why, plus to see others living in the same ungodliness and not suffer the same fate as us. He answered and said to me, I went into the forest. Oh, this is good. This is good. Pay attention. So what was I saying before? Yeah, so Psalm 74:17. You have fixed all the borders of the earth, the divisions of the land and sea, and of the nations. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth, and thou hast made the summer and the winter. Second Esdras 4:13. He answered me and said, I went into a forest of trees of the plain, and they made a plan and said, come, let us go and make war against the sea, so that it may recede before us, and so that we may make for ourselves more forests. In like manner, the waves of the sea also made a plan and said, come, let us go up and subdue the forest of the plain, so that there also we may gain more territory for ourselves. Sounds so familiar, innit? But the plan of the forest was in vain, for the fire came and consumed it. Likewise also the plan of the waves of the seas was in vain, for the sand stood firm and blocked it. If now you were a judge between them, which would you undertake to justify, and which to condemn? I answered and said, each made a foolish plan, for the land has been assigned to the forest, and the locale of the sea a place to carry its waves. He answered and said to me, you have judged rightly. We are supposed to be different. We have our own territories, our own places where we're supposed to be. But you know, like the trees say, let's go and conquer so we may have more land for ourselves. And the sea says, oh, let's go and subdue so that we may have more territory. Doesn't that sound like the human race, right? And who would you judge? Who has more claim to go and take more territory? Each made a foolish plan, for the land has been assigned to the forest, and the locale of the sea a place to carry its waves. Most High has a point to prove. And you know, the plan of the evil one, as you know, no borders, no races, no nations. You know, it's just business. Yeah. They think they can just mix us all together, so it will end racism and all these things belong to everybody. You know, but that's not the Most High's plan. And it would never work. Because at the end of the day, you see the world dividing into the rich, the super rich, the wealthy, those who are comfortable, those who have their head above water, those who are swimming, and those who are drowning. You see it, and it will keep reoccurring and keep reoccurring. Most High has a plan. We'll get to that. So I answered and said, each made a foolish plan, for the land has been assigned to the forest, and the locale of the sea a place to carry its wave. He answered and said to me, you have judged rightly, but why have you not judged? Why have you not judged so in your own case? Selah. Then left thinking. For the land has been assigned to the forest, and the sea to its waves. So also those who inhabit the earth can understand only what is on the earth, and he who is above the heavens can understand what is above the height of the heavens. Then I answered and said, I implore you, my Lord, why have I been endowed with the power of understanding? For I did not wish to inquire about the ways above, but about the things that we daily experience. Why Israel has been given over to the Gentiles in disgrace. Why the people whom you have loved been given over to godless tribes. And the law of our ancestors has been brought to destruction, and the written covenants no longer exist. We pass from the world like locusts, and our lives like a mist. And we are not worthy to obtain mercy. But what will he do for his name that is invoked over us? It is about these things that I have asked. He answered and said to me, if you are alive, you will see. And if you live long, you will often marvel, because the age is hurrying swiftly to its end. It will not be able to bring the things that have been promised to the righteous in their appointed times, because this age is full of sadness and infirmities. full of sorrows and sickness. For the evil about which you ask me has been sown, but for the harvest of it has not yet come. If therefore that which has been sown is not reaped, and if the place where the evil has been sown does not pass away, the field where the good has been sown will not come. For a grain of evil seed was sown in Adam's heart from the beginning, and how much ungodliness it has produced until now, and will produce until the time of threshing comes. Consider yourself now for yourself how much fruit of ungodliness a grain of seed has produced, when heads of grain without number are sown. How great a threshing floor they will fill. Blood up to the horse's bridle, the great wine press. Then I answered and said, how long? When will these things be? Why are our years few and evil? He answered me and said, do not be in a greater hurry than the Most High. You indeed are in a hurry for yourself. Humbled. But the highest is in a hurry on behalf of many. Waiting for the others. We waiting for you guys. Come on. Yeah, he's on behalf of others. Those yet to awaken, those yet to realize, those yet to submit, and those in Hades. You are do not be in a greater hurry than the Most High. You indeed are in a hurry for yourself, but the highest is in a hurry on behalf of many. Do not the souls of the righteous in their chambers ask about these matters, saying, how long are we to remain here? And when will the harvest of our reward come? See, that's even, if you have lost children, your children died, like we've been through this already, like you lost a child too soon. They're coming back. Will you be there to meet them? That's the thing. Will you be there to meet them? Or are you angry? Are you going to use that to say there is no God because God let my child die, and look at all the wickedness in the world. My child had to die, There are things that explain this. Go a couple of chapters back. Where is it? Second Esdras 2 and 20. Second Esdras 2 and 20. Guard the rights of the widow, secure justice for the ward, give to the needy, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, care for the injured and the weak. Do not ridicule the lame. No, that's not it. Two and 12, is it? It's one. Sorry, one. Sorry. Second Esdras 2 and 30 is. I've got it written down, right? Okay. Rejoice, O mother, with your children, because I will deliver you, says the father. Remember your children that sleep, because I will bring them out of the hiding places of the earth, and will show mercy to them, for I am merciful, says the father. Embrace your children until I come, and proclaim mercy to them, because my springs run over, and my grace will not fail. Now, I know in context where it's talking about as a nation. All the ones that have passed. But I'm 100% sure that that still applies. So, where was I? Yes. Did not the souls of the righteous in their chambers ask about these matters, saying, how long are we to remain here? And when will the harvest of our reward come? So we all know about the story of Job, yes. But there are also people who are trying to show you, they're trying really hard. There's movies been made. A book called The Shack, which has been made into a movie with Sam Worthington. And there's also quite recently made a film called The Shift, which is kind of based on the story of Job. You can find these things. Just trying to explain to people, bad things happen and don't blame God for it, because if you keep reading it explains. Everybody's quick to blame God, but they don't want to blame okay, let me just carry on, because how long we're to remain here, and when will the harvest of our reward come? And the archangel Jeremiel answered and said, when the number of those like yourselves is completed, for he has weighed the age and the balance, and measured the times by measure, and number the times by number, and he will not move or arouse them until that measure is fulfilled. Then I answered and said, but, O sovereign Lord, all of us also are full of ungodliness. Is it perhaps on account of us that the times of the threshing is delayed for the righteous, on account of the sins of those who inhabit the earth? He answered me and said, go and ask a pregnant woman whether when her 9 months have been completed, her womb can keep the fetus within her any longer. I said, no, my Lord, it cannot. He said to me, in Hades, the chambers of the souls are like a womb. For just as a woman who is in labor makes haste to escape the pangs of birth, so also do these places hasten to give back those things that were committed to them from the beginning. Then the things that you desire to see will be disclosed to you. So a woman, when she's having her birth pangs, she's just glad for it to be over. She knows it has to happen. She's glad for it to be over. And they come, they go, they come, they go. Once they're gone, it's like, but she knows it has to happen, until she just gets really had enough, and she's like, okay, this is it, it's time. Water bursts. She just wants to get the baby out now. This is the time. Then the things that you desire to see will be disclosed to you. I answered and said, if I found favor in your sight, and if it's possible, if I am worthy, show me this also, whether more time is to come than has passed, or whether for us the greater part has gone by. for I know what has gone by, but I do not know what is to come. And he said to me, stand at my right side, and I will show you the interpretation of the parable. So I stood and looked, and lo, a flaming furnace passed by before me. And when the flame had gone by, I looked, and lo, the smoke remained. And after this, a cloud full of water passed before me, and poured down a heavy and violent rain. And when the violent rainstorm had passed, drops still remained in the cloud. He said to me, consider it for yourself, for just as the rain is more than the drops, and the fire is greater than the smoke, so the quantity that is passed was far greater, but the drops and the smoke remained. Sailor, which one do you want to be, the smoke or the drops? Then I prayed and said, do you think that I shall live unto those days? Or who will be alive in those days? He answered me and said, concerning the signs about which you ask me, I can tell you in part, but I was not sent to tell you concerning your life, for I do not know. So let's continue 2nd Esdras 5. We will continue at next time. We shall continue next time because it's quite extensive. It's quite deep. And I've got a lot of questions to ask. But let's just end those couple of chapters with Psalm 75. Unto thee, O Yah, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks, for that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but Yah is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. For in the hand of the Father there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises unto the Elohim of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. How long? The time is near. But we wait. All things must come to pass.